Never let someone tell you that you cannot make it. Prove them wrong. You have what it takes. You're here watching this video because you believe in Web3. If visionaries would have listened to comments that it's impossible to achieve their goals, we wouldn't be watching this video right now. But here we are, building an NFT bridge and moving NFTs from one blockchain to another. If you can dream it, you can build it.
If we knew the potential that we all have, if we put our mind and our effort to it, we will already be traveling through space. Absolutely. Everyone has talent. They just need to find it. If you already know what your talent is, make sure that you follow it, because you're going to be successful. And that is a fact, okay? When we add a personal touch, you definitely stand out for the rest. By adding those particular details, they might look insignificant, but they're actually making a difference. And that definitely, it's something you want to take in consideration. I'm not saying that you're going to do the next Mona Lisa or the next Picasso. No. What I'm actually telling you is that add a piece of creativity to any project. Add something that is unique, something that identifies with you, something that you know what? I did that. That was me. That's what you need to look for. You need to look for that secret ingredient. And it's your creativity and it's your passion. When you find, or when you're able to identify what actually makes you stay up all night and devoting yourself to making something as amazing as an NFT bridge, for example, you right there, you got the answer to your goals in life. That's it. You need to find that, okay? In this video, we are going to build, finally, the Web3 front end for our NFT bridge. And after this video, we can test this amazing application, because that's all we need. We need the Web3 front end. We need to have a user interface that is captivating, that is motivating to a potential user to move NFTs from one blockchain to another. And with that, we're here to make this happen. Let's go. Okay, let's make this as simple as possible for you to understand how we are going to interact between the blockchain and this web front end, the bridge NFT smart contract, the NFT custody smart contract, or the bridge custody smart contract. So we have to work with that. And we have to work with the contract interaction to this web front end. So we got the NFT bridge smart contract. Let me rephrase, the bridge NFT smart contract. If you saw the previous videos, you know that that is the smart contract that is going to mint the NFTs at the destination blockchain, okay? So we have to work with that. We need to make sure that we can talk using our web front end to those smart contracts using Ethers. The same goes with the custody smart contract. The magic happens on the bridge with the bridge NFT smart contract and the custody smart contract. Remember, the custody will retain, will release, will retain, and will release. That is the logic behind it, nothing else. And the bridge NFT smart contract, it's to mint NFTs at the destination blockchain, because we have the NFT collection that has been deployed on Polygon, let's say, for example, but we want to move those NFTs onto Ethereum or onto Binance Smart Chain. How do we do that? We do that by minting a duplicate at the destination blockchain. Now we need to make this as simple as possible for our users. The only thing that the user should expect by using our NFT bridge is to select the source blockchain, retrieve the assets. We should get the NFTs that that user is holding on the wallet, on his wallet or her wallet, right? So I am connected with my own wallet right here. So those NFTs are the ones that we're going to choose to move from one blockchain to the other. The only thing that the user must do is click on the NFT and we will see this value being refreshed, right? We'll select our destination blockchain. It could be Polygon, Binance, or any other. And, again, I'm using those three as an example, but Any EVM compatible blockchain will work. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to use Binance because I deployed the smart contracts on Ethereum and Binance on the testnets. So I can also select Polygon. That's fine. Okay, and now we will have this amazing summary page or summary section that is going to give the information to the end user to say, hey, review transfer details and confirm. Bridge source, you select the Ethereum, you select the NFT number 2. A bridge destination, you want to go to Binance Smart Chain. And now we give the opportunity to the end user to use the N2VR token. So that will be our custom ERC20 token as a form of payment to bridge those NFTs. Okay. Once I click transfer, that's it. I should be able to just confirm transactions on my MetaMask wallet, and off I go. That's it. So that's the expectation. Literally very straightforward for an end user, not for the developer. Okay, so let's go. So let me start by doing the following. What I'm actually thinking of doing on this video, it's running a parallel server. Like I'm going to leave this one. So as we start building, we compare, right? And I'm also going to be explaining each section in the HTML code. As we start rendering, after I apply the code, we will go back and forth. Oh, we did a section, this top section, we replace the background and so forth. So we can start seeing how the application start taking life, taking form. Okay, so let's go and start. Obviously, the first thing we have to do, we have to build a Next.js create app. So we have to build a Next.js application. I'm going to go to one of my servers and I'm basically going to create the npx create next app NFT Bridge. You already are familiar with this. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, so I will press enter, create next app. Yes, it's just going to install dependencies. You're already aware of how this works. Okay, so we got the application deployed. Now what we need to do, we need to go onto the application folder. So in this case, I'm going to type cd NFT Bridge ls, and that's my application. Now what I got to do, I got to install all dependencies. So I'm going to give you dependencies one by one. Okay, and don't worry, as always, I have this on the GitHub. Okay, but pay attention, watching you. Okay, so let's go ahead. The first thing I'm going to install will be the Next UI. It's a graphical styling wrapper that we will use to style the front end. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you. Very straightforward. Next UI. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and install Next UI. I'm going to go here. We're going to copy. I'm going to paste. Okay, we're installing the graphical component. Okay, cool. Install. Next, let's install Ethers. Okay, I think Ethers is kind of important. Lame jokes. By the way, while I'm installing Ethers, we're going to be starting with Foundry. If anyone knows what Foundry is, leave it in the comments. It's the real deal. All I can say. Okay, cool. So we got the Ethers install. Now we are going to install, let's see what else I have to work with. I got to work with Axios because I do some API pulling to get the NFT information from using my NFT puller. Okay. Can you hear how that sounds? When you can say my NFT puller, meaning that I build that app, that's where you need to go. You need to get to a point that you can say, you know what? Someone is using my application. Motivation right there. So let me install, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and install the tech provider, which we all know that is extremely important to know what blockchain it's the wallet, the MetaMask wallet currently set to, so that we can switch over. Got it? So we got that, and now we need to install the Web3 model, of course, because we got to talk to the wallet, right? npm I, boom, Web3 model, cool deal, awesome. So now I am installing Web3 model, and next thing I got to install, it's going to be Web3 because I'm still using Web3 to get some data, and we are going to install Axios. And npm I Axios. Okay, I'm gonna leave all the instructions on the GitHub README. Okay, So we got this. Now we are going to install. Actually, there's two things that I'm going to quite cool. There is, let me go back onto the, so I'm gonna refresh. I'm gonna show you a cool animation styling that I add onto this application. So I'm gonna refresh and you're gonna see this like flipping. There you go. You see that? That is called animation on scroll. It's open source. You can install this using npm as well. So okay, so we want to look for animate on scroll library. So this is the library that does this cool trick. So I'm just gonna go ahead. You see, it's basically just like flipping, and I can actually, instead of doing up and down, I can slide this left to right. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do it real quick, and you can see the difference. It's kind of cool. So okay, so yeah, so basically it's a single parameter. I just change. I can say flip left, I think. Slide left. Let's see what that does. You saw? Whoa, that's awesome, right? It actually, like you can set the animation to be sliding left to right. So I can actually tell this guy to slide right to left. So basically refresh, slide right to left. Now this one, I can tell the second one to slide left to right. So I'm going to find the other one. I am going to say slide right. I'm going to save it. Let's see now. Ooh, cool, right? And then the last one, I can just keep going, okay? I want to show you that. So that's AOS. So you want to install AOS as well. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go ahead and install AOS. And that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, awesome. So now that we have everything installed as far as dependencies, let's go ahead and run the front end. I'm going to type npm run dev, and looking good. Cool deal. Okay, so now this is one of my servers. This is .32. So let me go ahead and open that. Let's see what we get. Obviously, default page. Let's start making this a reality. Okay, now that we have it up and running, right? Let's go ahead and start working with Visual Studio Code. Let's code and add all the dependencies. We're going to add the contract ABIs because we need to have the ABI so that we can interact in Web3 with the smart contracts and the blockchain, okay? So I'm going to add the ABIs. We're also going to add all the smart contract address. I have a configuration file dedicated just to store and export the smart contract addresses along with the wallet of the owner of all the smart contracts that were deployed, because the smart contracts are restricted to only the owner. So only the owner can call certain functions. The only function that will be called by the end user will be the retain NFT. The release NFT and minting and everything else will only be called by the owner of the smart contract. That's the security mechanism to make sure that no one is going to be able to talk to those particular functions, okay? Let's go ahead. There we go. We got it up and running. Let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit so you can see. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do, and we're going to go a little bit quick so then we focus on the most important aspect, which is the interconnection with the smart contracts and the front end. Okay, so now what I got to do, first thing I'm going to build a folder. This folder will be called engine. If you have seen my other videos, this is usually the way that I approach, right? So when I want to add all the dependencies and everything, I'll just create a separate section, in this case engine. And then from there, I add the configuration file and everything else, okay? Sweet. Okay, cool. So now the first thing I'm going to do, I am going to create the configuration file. And bear with me. Is this your first training video series that you're following? I will be creating a configuration file that will include all the smart contract addresses, okay? So we're going to do this configuration. This will be stored under engine, okay? I'm going to paste everything. I'm going to go very quick because this is familiar to you if you have seen all the other training videos. Else, I'm just going to explain to you real quick. Basically, what I'm doing right here, I am storing all the values that I need to use in order for me to interact with the smart contracts, okay? and also interact with the Web3 application. So I'm using simple. Oh, by the way, we forgot to install this. We have to install this. Let me go ahead and do that right now. But this is basically for me to encrypt the private key of the owner wallet. This private key will sit in this web application, and we want to make sure that it's encrypted. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back onto that server, install simple crypto, because that's the only thing that we're missing. Yes. Let's go ahead and npm I. Okay, so we're installing that. Once we're done, we run it again. Continue. Okay, done. And nope, I didn't like it. There we go. Awesome. Running. Good. Cool. Okay, and now I need to generate like a random key that will be used to cipher the password, or in this case, the private key. Again, if you want to know a little bit more about this particular feature set or this particular module on NPM, I am going to leave the module link so you can take a look at it, okay? This is basically the private key for my owner wallet. Okay, and this is another private key that I have, but this is for hard hat, but we're not using hard hat. As a matter of fact, to not confuse anyone, I'm not going to be working with that. So I'm just going to take it out. Same goes with this. Okay, got it. And basically this is the wallet that we are going to be using. That's the owner wallet address. Okay, and this is the private key. This is how we go ahead and export that so that we can use it in Next.js to make our calls or interact with Web3. Okay. Right now I do have like a hard hat environment right here, but again, I'm not using hard hat, so it's safe to say that we can just take it out of here. This is literally using the common public test nets. In this case, I have the Polygon, I got Goerli, the Ethereum, and we got a Binance Smart Chain testnet. And I do have the RPC addresses for Ethereum as well as the Binance Smart Chain. Those RPC addresses are the mainnets, not testnets again, but I'm not using it on the app. I'm using actually the ones that are included on the testnet section. Okay, so there you go. So that's all those smart contracts. The ERC20 token, that's the Entity Rewards token smart contract, the custody, and the NFT smart contract. Okay, the same goes for the other ones. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and Control S. So we got the file. Next thing I'm going to do, I am going to create the ABIs. I already got the ABIs exported from the smart contract. So we're going to go ahead and type bridge ABI JSON. Let's go ahead and paste all the ABI stuff. Okay, we're going to go here. We're going to go Control S, done. Let's do the same thing for the custody. Let's bring the custody ABI. Again, all this will be provided in GitHub. Control A, Control A, Control C. I gotta love copy and paste, huh? Done. Okay, cool. And now we're gonna save it. Now we got the custody. Now we are going to create the ABI for the ERC20 smart contract. So this will be ERC20 ABI JSON. Okay, there we go. We're going to Control S. Now we got 3. And finally, this is the NFT smart contract ABI. This is not the Bridge NFT ABI. This is the normal ERC 721 ABI that we are going to be talking to, because I still have to use that ABI to interact with the original NFT smart contract. Okay. So we're going to say NFT, ABI, JSON, and this will be the last one. A, C, and B. There we go. And S to save it. Okay, so we got all the ABIs, right? All 4 of them. We got the configuration file. Now what we need to import will be the connect button. If you haven't seen the marketplace video, so I have a multi-chain NFT marketplace video tutorial series that I also produced. I created a multi-chain connect button. Basically, it's a drop-down button. It's this one right here, as a matter of fact. I'm going to show you right now. So this is the connect button that I created, which allows you to switch between blockchains. So you can select Ethereum, Binance, Polygon. And let's say right now my wallet is currently in Goerli, okay? So you can define Ethereum, it's going to switch you to Goerli testnet. Binance Smart Chain is going to switch me from Goerli. It's going to ask on the MetaMask wallet if I want to switch myself to Binance, and it's going to just switch it for you, okay? If you don't have the Binance Smart Chain testnet added onto MetaMask, the moment I select this, it's going to also provide you the opportunity to auto configure that on the wallet, which is amazing, okay? So I developed that, and it's available, and again, it will be also provided in the Github repo, okay? So I'm going to select Ethereum, right? But if I want to switch to Binance, I'll just select that, and it's already telling me, hey, I'm going to switch you to Binance Smart Chain. Sure, I'm just going to switch network. Now I'm on Binance Smart Chain. If I retrieve the assets, this should be the NFTs that I hold in Binance Smart Chain, okay? So there you go. So I do have those two NFTs on Binance Smart Chain. If I switch back to Ethereum, okay, retrieve the assets, now I'm going to see the NFTs that I have on Ethereum, okay? Cool. Awesome. So let's go back. Let me continue. Okay. So now what we need to do, we have to build the files to host that. So I'm going to create another file. In this case will be change.js. Yep. And let me go ahead and copy and paste. And again, I went through this on NFT marketplace. So if you want to see that video training, I actually go in deep and how to configure all this. Okay. Let's go ahead and import here. Okay, we're going to Control S, and we're done with that. And now we are going to create another folder inside Engine. And this is kind of cool. So I have to do another folder, and I call this folder Interfaces. So what I'm doing on the interface folder, I am going to add the source bridge button and the destination bridge button. The reason why is I don't want to have the main index file, the actual application, the actual NFT bridge code with this code as well, because it's just going to be so much that I rather export that and import onto the app so that we shrink the amount of syntax that we have to add onto that single file. We don't want that, okay? Because we want to make sure that it's clean, that if there's issues, I can, diagnose, debug faster, okay? So with that said, I'm going to create the destination and source bridge. But for that, I definitely need to explain to you what is doing each one, okay? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to say source bridge JS. This is important, okay? So effectively, this starts the web front-end journey, okay? So what I'm going to do, first of all, I am going to import all the requirements, right? So in this case, I am importing all the values for all the blockchains that I'm going to allow to switch on MetaMask. So those are all the values. I'm obviously importing React, use effect, use state, Dropdown. So this is part of the Next UI package or the wrapper. And I am also going to import the BSC NFT, BSC custody, and BSC RPC, Goerli, all that. You remember where we configured this? We configured this under the configuration page, on the configuration file. So from there, I exported that. You can see that I exported all those vars, and now I can effectively import that in the source bridge configuration, okay? Now I'm going to do something. This is Next UI. This is just styling to make sure that I follow the style in Next UI. Nothing too fancy, okay? And now let's begin. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to export the default function called that I called source bridge. From there, what I got to do, I am going to create the use state hooks. And I also will be using, probably is going to be new to you if you haven't seen the NFT marketplace video, which is use memo. Use memo allows me to store in memory So this is why it's called use memo. Just so it's use memory. So basically, it allows me to grab that value and store it in memory. So in case a user decides to come back and continue, the value is still there, has not been changed. If the user goes and refresh the page or something like that, the value remains the same. It doesn't have to like restart all over again. Okay, so that's why we are doing that. But in this case, I am doing it because I will be using the memory to display the logo for each blockchain on the button. Okay, so this is the reason why I'm doing that. And again, go to the NFT marketplace and you will know exactly how I did this. Okay, I explained that in more detail. Okay, cool. So let me go back. Okay, cool. So now we got that set. Now what I gotta do, I am going to import. This is not too fancy, and I already did this on the NFT marketplace. This is all to build that button. So basically what it's going to do is going to see if you selected Ethereum. I am going to find that value, or I'm going to be listening for this key, which is Ethereum. That's the name. If you selected that, I will be sending that to a var, so then I can compare the value. And then from there, I can display the logo on the button. This is how we display the logo on the button, okay? Good. Next thing that I'm going to do, I am going to do the actual function. So this will be the button to select the source chain, okay? And I'm going to paste this whole thing right here, which is very straightforward, to be honest. So what it's going to do, it's basically going to, again, very similar to what we did up here. We are going to use the block image based on what the selected value was. Okay, so block image basically is this right here. I call that block image. So let's say if I select Ethereum, this is what I need to see here, right? By default, this drop-down button allows text only. So I have to build something on top of it so then I can show the logo, which looks way better than just text, okay? And that's how I did it, okay? Let's go back. So yeah, so basically now when I select that sort change, you saw me selecting it, what I'm going to determine, if you are selecting BSC, then I want you to call this function, which is a BSC test, okay? What is a BSC test? BSC test, if we go back onto change, this is the function that I have that will allow me to switch the MetaMask wallet onto Binance Smart Chain. That is where the magic is happening, okay? So that's how I am able to send the Web3 call to the wallet and say, well, yeah, this user wants to connect to this particular mainnet or testnet, please switch him over. If the user doesn't have the testnet configured on the wallet, it's going to provide the information. So then it's just going to auto-populate that on his behalf, okay? Cool, so let's go back. So we got that, okay? So this is basically what I'm doing. Once I get all that information, I will be obtaining the value for the source blockchain. So this is how I'm going to determine what contract address am I going to use as my source custody and as my NFT custody, okay? Make sure that you understand this, because when you select the drop-down, the source blockchain, it actually maps the value to the smart contract that we are going to be interacting with. So this will be the source blockchain smart contract. Okay, so this is how I am going to tell the entire front end, the source blockchain, this is the source blockchain, and this is the smart contract that you are going to be interacting with. Okay, very important. Okay, so let me continue. Now I am going to use another hook. This time the hook that I will be working with is use effect. Because why? No, because I want to auto refresh if the user change his or her mind and shows a different blockchain. So like, let's say for example, if I did this from Binance Smart Chain to Ethereum, that is a use effect right there. it's going to update the value for the source NFT smart contract and custody smart contract. Because let's say the user, let me go ahead and refresh, right? Let's say the user at the beginning selected Ethereum, right? And it's on Ethereum, retrieve the assets, okay? Now wants to switch to Binance, right? Switch to Binance. Now my source NFTs have to change. Those are no longer my NFTs. Remember, we're now dealing with a completely different blockchain. I have to now talk to a completely different smart contract address. So when I retrieve assets, the NFTs that I will be displaying on the application are completely different from the ones that are on Ethereum, okay? So the moment I change to Binance Smart Chain, I will be interacting with a completely different smart contract. I'm no longer interacting with Ethereum, so then I have to update all the source NFT smart contract addresses along with the destination NFT smart contract address, okay? Let's say the user decides to go back to Ethereum as the source. Sure, retrieve the assets again, and now I should see a completely different set of NFTs. There you go. That's what we want to see, okay? Again, if you want to know a little bit more about the button, how it's done, I'm going to leave the video description below so you can take a look at that, okay? And there you go. You got, basically I'm wrapping the entire app under Next UI provider, and then basically calling this theme so that you do the whole styling and all that. And yeah, sure enough, that's basically it. So once we're done, as a matter of fact, I want to make sure that it's properly formatted. So I'm going to format selection, and now everything is all nice and tidy, okay? Cool. So from here, what it says here, I gotta install, another dependency that I forgot, okay? So Control C. I will leave the entire list, okay? Don't worry about it. I will leave that on GitHub. So I'm gonna I'm gonna go ahead and install this and restart the server. Okay, cool. So let me go back. Oh, by the way, I gotta run the server. Okay, we no longer have that line right there. Okay, so we're good. So this is done. Now we got the source bridge. Okay, now that we have this, now it's safe to say that I got the information that I need. The stage files that I need to be interacting with, the stage JavaScript files, okay? And let's see if we're missing something else. We got that, chain. And we got something very cool that I'm going to add, which is basically, you see this floating CSS animation. This is basically something that I found online that I thought it was cool. I'm not by any means a CSS guy. I'm not too much of a CSS guy, but I saw something, hey, might as well. It was open source, it was available. It's basically some form of circles or blocks that you just leave floating on the back. They look cool. So I am going to add that as well. So I'm just going to add the file. And that file will be called circles. So I'm going to go onto the engine. I'm going to call circles.js, okay? And we can go ahead and export that. And you're going to see this. Basically, I was disassembling this whole thing to understand that. So basically what it's going to do is just going to each LI object, it gets styled using CSS. So each one represents a block, one of those blocks that is floating. And this just keeps running and running and running, and it keeps floating because this will be called onto CSS, which is the next thing that we have to work with. Okay, so basically that's what it does. And this effect that you see on the back, it's literally that. Looks like it's very simple to implement. I actually play with it. I'm like, whoa, that's awesome. I actually made this a little bit more square because it was literally a circle before. So I did it square like blockchain, but it's not that hard to figure it out. Actually, it's very straightforward. Okay, so let's work on CSS. As a matter of fact, because we need the styling. And then once we're done with that, then we can start working with the main index file. This is the actual brain of the NFT Bridge Web FrontEnd. Okay. All right, let's go onto the index file now, and let's build this amazing, beautiful, fantastic application. Let's go ahead. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click on index, and you'll all know this is the default NextJS front end. We're gonna go ahead and get rid of this. I'm gonna import all my dependencies. And we're going to do the same thing as we did with the source bridge. It's going to be very similar. Obviously, there's going to be way more stuff to import because this is the actual application. So what I need to do now, I'm going to start importing here. Let me import first what you already know about. Okay, so you already know about useState, all the styling in NextUI, obviously ethers, my addresses from the configuration file, right? So we have a JX export file with all my smart contract addresses, the RPC addresses that we are going to be interacting with, and the private key for the owner wallet. And this is the wallet that was used to deploy the smart contracts, okay? San Francisco Pro font, that's quote the Apple font. The animate on scroll, you saw when we changed from flipping up and down to slide left to right. Okay, now let's import the ABIs. Very important. Without the ABIs, we cannot make any Web3 calls because the ABI is holding the directory. It's basically like the index of what can you talk in the smart contract. Okay, so that's how we actually make the calls. The ABI is literally linking our JS function to Web3. And we do either ethers or we do Web3, the module to make those calls. In this case, we use Web3 Modal as well. Any call to the blockchain from a Web3 standpoint will require the ABI because we need to know what functions are inside the smart contract. And you already know. If we're building an NFT bridge, I'm expecting you to already know this, okay? So now let me explain to you what I've just pasted. I pasted all my ABIs. Remember when we build those ABIs, we configure those right here, okay? So we configure that right there. And we are importing the Web3 model. This will be my module that will allow me to communicate to the MetaMask wallet or any other Web3 wallet that is compatible with Web3 model, okay? We are also importing Web3 because I need to use Web3 to make certain calls and also the utilities on Web3. There are certain utilities that I still use. I know I might hear from developers saying, oh no, Web3 is outdated. I'm like, yes, it is. But still, I use some functions out of it, okay? And this is literally NextUI. You have seen this before. This is just to set up a theme to the page, okay? So I'm just going to add that here. Basically, that's me to make a Dart theme with a set of predefined styling parameters in NextUI, okay? Now we're going to build that. Oh, by the way, there's two things that I also have to import. Before we start working with HTML, there's some dependencies. First of all, I have a completely different global CSS styling sheet because we're using a lot of styling for the circles moving, the animate on scroll, all that is there. I'm not going to go too much into details. I am going to definitely share the file with you so you can take a look at that, but it's CSS. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and select all this here. I'm going to copy this whole thing and we're going to paste. Okay, so basically that's all of it. And you can see here circles. This is the settings that it will make that circle, you know, float on the background on the app. Okay, not gonna go into details because that's not what we're here for. I'm gonna leave the link to this particular library on the description. So if you're interested to see how that it's built, it's quite awesome, to be honest. It's quite cool. Kudos to whoever built it. I'm going to save this. So now we have saved the styling, okay? I have to import all the images that I'm using for the NFT bridge. So those are my, you know, logos and so forth. So I'm going to add this to my public folder. So bear with me 1 second. Let me just do it real quick. Okay, so I just added all, you can see, all the images that I need. And check this out. Oh, this is that background when we initialize the bridge transaction. It is a GIF. Basically, it's like a wormhole. It's just animation. It looks very cool, to be honest. Okay, cool. So now let me go ahead and do this. I am going to go under index, right? And under index, we're going to start making some magic here. So let's build the HTML piece, at least stuff that we don't necessarily need the JavaScript functions, but we want to make sure that we can see it, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do, I am going to remove this styling because this is like the default styling in Next.js. We are now going to import circles. Oh, by the way, let's take a look at that. Let's see if that does the trick. By just importing the circles, this should already show me the circles on the back. So how do I do this? Remember, I created this file right here. What I ended up doing, I exported this entire function from this file. When I went to index, let's go up, you can see it right here. I am importing it. So I exported that from this file. This entire function has been exported from here and imported here. And then I just need to call, because this is literally an HTML render that I need to add onto my function. That's it. Once I do this, I should see the floating blocks on the background. So let's go ahead and save it. Let's see what happens. Ooh, so we are seeing some activity. Awesome, awesome. So now we definitely are seeing the circles, basically those squares, because I modified the CSS file to look a little bit more squarish, but it was circles. So there you go, looking good. All right, so let me continue here. So let me build the first container. I am going to build the top portion of the site. So let me show you the top portion of the site. This is the current web front end, or this is the application that is already finished. So let's build this right here. So we're gonna add the background, and we're gonna add the logo, and we're going to add all the styling here, okay? And let me add the container here. That should do it. So I'm gonna copy, I'm gonna add this right below. And absolutely, I have to close the container. So that looks good. Okay, perfect. So you can see here, I have the container, it's size small. By the way, this is NextUI, so you might want to take a look at NextUI. Image, I am importing the NFT Bridge logo, which is going to be on the upper left side. And I'm basically adding the width, the height, this resolution, the size of it. Text, I'm going to add white, color font. This is the font size, margin, weight, and the information, okay? We're going to add a small paragraph below, and we're going to close this in a container in a grid fashion, right? So I'm going to go Control S. Let's take a look at that now. Ooh, wow, wow. That's awesome, awesome, awesome. It's taking shape. Let's continue, okay? The next thing we are going to add is that the wallet label, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. So let me add that into the app. So now we got that up and running. Let me add this right below here. Okay, and this will be our first container. We're gonna have a couple of containers. We're gonna have the upper container is gonna include all the logo, this paragraph that we just added, all the way to the wallet. Okay. After that, we are starting container number 2, which is going to include the actual app. Okay. So let's go ahead and work with that. So let me go back. Okay, so we got Control S. We're gonna save. We'll go back. Ooh, wow. Okay, awesome. Now we definitely have this ready to go. Okay, now we need to continue, because the retrieve assets, it's going to provide the information here. It's gonna populate the wallet address onto the front end. Okay. Let's go. By the way, I'm going to show you how I do this, okay? So how do you retrieve the wallet address? How am I able to pull that information from the wallet onto the site? So I basically have a floating input, right? So basically what it's going to do is going to show this particular message, but the moment this gets updated, it's going to replace that message with the actual wallet address. So I'm calling ID wallet address. In the source bridge function, I have an HTML get item by ID option that will allow me to retrieve whatever text, whatever string I got from the call, and display that in HTML. And you're going to see this in a bit, okay? So that is how I'm doing it. I'm basically grabbing that information and throwing it after I make my call. Simple as that. Okay, cool. So we got that up and running. So let me go ahead and continue. Next thing I'm going to do, okay, I just closed the container. Now we're going to open a new container. This new container will be our actual card for each phase of the bridge function. So we got the source, we got select the NFTs, we got select destination, and finally the transfer. So we got 4 card containers. Inside of each one, we will then configure all the objects. Okay, so let me go ahead and create the first one. So I just closed this container, right? And we're going to open another one, same size, small. So everything, make sure that everything formats correctly. Everything has to be the same equal size, okay? So we're gonna close container. So because I open it when I pasted, but I never put a closing bracket. Okay, now we're opening and closing. So we got a card object, and this is where we did that AOS slide. The animate on scroll, this is how we do it. Okay, so I basically can do a slide, or I can do a flip, and I can set how and this is milliseconds, how often do I want this to take? How much interval do I need to provide to each animation? So I can make this a longer, which is going to take is going to be a slower slide, or a quicker, which I just need to drop down the milliseconds in this value. The offset is between the upper object that we are animating and this object. Okay, I want to make sure that I put some time so that it shows one first, we wait, and then show the second one. We don't want both of them like going right at the same time, because it's not going to look professional. So we want to like send one first and then the other one. Okay, now I'll show you. We'll do a quick tweaking. Okay, awesome. So we got that, and now we got the famous transfer from message or title in the app. Let me show you what that is. It's right here. Okay, so we are basically configuring inside the card. So this is the card element. So let me go back. I want to show you real quick. Card element. This is the card element. We open it, and guess what? I am applying that animate on scroll on the card. I am going to add the card color. I'm going to add some back shadow on the card, and you can see it right here. This is the shadow that we added, and so forth. Okay, and then I'm going to add the source, and we are going to invoke the source bridge function that we just configured. The source bridge file that we created, we are actually going to invoke here. We need to import that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. There you go, right here. So basically I have transfer from, and now I'm effectively calling the source bridge. Remember source bridge? Here we go. This is the file that we're working with. If we go all the way up, I'm importing source bridge right here. From where? From the actual file that we just created. That's how I'm importing into Next.js. Okay, and I got the button. So the button, basically, it's going to call set source. I am going to use this function, right? I am going to use this function to call the function that will obtain the chain ID, and is going to retrieve the assets. It's going to provide the NFT contract address, the bridge contract address, the custody smart contract address. All that will be done with this particular function. And we haven't configured it, but we will do now. I just want to show you that we are going to do all the HTML, and then we'll add the functions, and off we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to remove it, because if I just add that with there, it's going to say it's missing, and it's not going to render properly. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to Control S. Let's go back, and let's go here. There you go. Now we got it. Okay, this is tied to set source, so we still have to call the function in Index.js. Well, don't worry, we'll configure it now. Okay, I'm gonna do it real quick, as a matter of fact, so you can see it. So let me see where I left that there. Okay, so I'm gonna add this back, but I'm also gonna bring the set source function. I want to add this right below here. Okay, so we're gonna add this right here. And we need to also add all the use state hooks, because we're using quite a few. We're using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm gonna grab it right here. Okay, and we're gonna do visible. No, I don't think it's going to ask me for that. Source NFT. So we need to get the set NFTs. Yeah, set NFTs, and get ERC20. Cool, so we got that. Let me go ahead and Control S and let's see if we don't run into any issues. Doesn't look like, it looks like it's good. Okay, let's give it a shot one more time. Woohoo! Awesome, awesome. If I change my source blockchain, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so it's working. There you go. So we got half of the battle already done. We're almost there. Ethereum, let's go back, switch back, and now retrieve the assets, but nothing is going to be rendered because I still have to do the HTML. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so now we have done that piece. Source bridge card, retrieve assets. Okay, so now I have to create a new card, right? So this new card will be to select the NFTs. Let me show you this one right here. This is kind of cool. This is where I'm going to display the NFTs, okay? So I'm gonna open a new card, close it. So now I wanna show you here. Whoa, I'm gonna have this particular card slide from the left. Remember in the beginning of the video what I changed the animation? So this one is going to slide left to right, and then the other one is going to be right to left. So that's what we did. Okay, so I think it's over here. Slide left, slide right. There we go. Slide right, slide left. Okay, got it. So let me go ahead and see if I am not missing anything. Doesn't look like it. Let me Control S. And cross fingers. Ooh, wow, this is cool. Okay, there you go. Now we got the NFTs properly talking, which is awesome. Okay, we were able to retrieve the NFTs, which is a very good sign. Let's continue. Okay, how did I do this? Let me show you. I want to go fast, but I also want to show you how this is done. I have basically a grid container. I am justifying flex start, which is basically a way to self-align. Like it's similar to responsive, to make it responsive, where it just self-aligns into the form. But then I am creating this. This is an actual array that I retrieve when I did the use state, when I did the get source NFTs. When I get the set source. When I did the set source, I am expecting set NFTs item array, right? So this is one of the information that I'm going to obtain from the call, which then I'm going to go up and then set NFTs. You can see here, this is the name of the use state item array. So if we go there, set NFTs, NFTs. What am I actually exporting to build the map? NFTs. So let's go down. You got NFTs. And then from there, map. And then this will be NFT I will be the key. Basically, every time that I got a new object detected on the call or it's stored in the array from the call, it's going to be I. So for each one, basically, I'm doing a loop. So it's gonna read each one and create the same object, the same card, the same objects in HTML. It's gonna populate with those unique attributes. Okay. That's it. So let's go back. So now we know that this works. Now let's build the last two and we are done. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that. So now what I'm going to build, it's step 3, which is basically select the destination blockchain. We are going to select the destination blockchain, and from there I can retrieve the NFT ID that I want to transfer and so forth. So this one is going to be kind of interesting, to say the least. I am going to open this other guy. So now we got the third option. This, by the way, is going to retrieve the destination blockchain. So for that, I am going to retrieve destination. This is the title of that particular section. Let me show you that. Right here, this is the existing app. This will be transferred to destination. So if we go back, this is the new one. Let me go and show you. Destination, and then we are going to retrieve the button. So now the transfer to is going to show to and then destination below it, and you saw it right here. Okay, transfer to destination. Now we got the famous drop down button, but this drop down button will be created in the index file. It's not externally generated because I need to retrieve some values from the set source, so then I can define the destination. That's why I cannot just import that from somewhere else, because the import is not going to have that information there. Yes, there's ways to map that and import the use state, but in this video, I am literally just doing it very straightforward, because if not, we'll just have another video just to discuss that, okay? So for that, I need to build that amazing call that I told you that is going to generate the destination information, because we need that to build the call to initialize the NFT transfer, okay? Let's add this right here. I want to show you what this is. Those are two functions that I build, basically constant. So I am going to use that to determine what blockchain, destination blockchain, has the user selected to connect to. So in this case, a block image is the image that I'm going to show on the button. Instead of me showing the text of the blockchain, like it looks less visually appealing, I am going to show the block image, which in this case is going to show the logo, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, etc. Same. So I am going to also display, this is actually in the fourth section. So the third section is set destination, right? Or, set transfer to and then destination. But then the fourth one is going to show me from which block, from this blockchain to this blockchain. Those two logos that I'm showing, this is here. Destination image, I'm going to show the source and the destination as well, okay? So you can see it right here. And this is actually called at the fourth phase, or the fourth step, which is confirm the transfer, okay? Let's do it. And then set selected, basically this, so what I'm doing with this, okay? What I'm doing with this, I am expecting the user, so once the user hits the function or the button to select the destination blockchain, I need to know what blockchain did that user selected. It's very important, because with that, I can determine what it's going to be my custody smart contract, what it's going to be my bridge NFT smart contract, etc. And I mean the contract address, where I need to point the RPC to make the Web3 calls, okay? So that's why I need to make sure that I can obtain that value from the user. Once the user selects that blockchain, I need to store that information, send it up to the function, so the function knows which custody smart contract, which NFT bridge smart contract it's going to interact with, okay? So now let me go ahead and make sure, okay, so let me go ahead and save. I hope that it's not gonna fail, and it did. Okay, so it's showing destination chain is not defined. Oh, yeah, I know what it is. It's the React use memory. Okay, got it. Remember when I told you at the beginning that this is how I'm going to store whatever destination is the user selecting, and if the user changed its mind on the fly, like, oh no, you know what, I'm not gonna send it to Polygon, I'm gonna send it to Binance. That right there, we need to make sure that we can update that, because if not, it's just gonna stay with the previous selection, and that will definitely cause an issue. So this is how I do it. I basically going to store in memory whatever you got before, and then if it gets updated, then I am going to re-update that as well. But also I am going to use this information so that I can show the destination blockchain image. So once the user tells me, I am going to, on step 4, the transfer, I am going to show the destination blockchain logo, because I already know that user hit that destination chain in step 3. This is how I'm capturing that information so that I can determine with another. There you go. So destination image, let me show you real quick. I am going to, there we go. So destination image is expecting me from use memory, then give me what do you got from step 3. From step 3, when I call destination chain, I used a hook and got the destination blockchain that the user selected. And now with this, I can then define, oh, so you selected this as the destination. Okay, sure. Now let me check. Is it matching Ethereum? No. Is it matching Binance Smart Chain? I am going to know this because this is what I'm going to be sending once the user hits that button. I'm going to show you right now. Okay. Once the user selects, check this out. I got those 3 drop items. I got the first one, drop item 1 is Ethereum, the key. The button is attached to a key. So if I select Ethereum, that is key, Ethereum. Now this is the information that I'm going to send up to use memory so then I can retrieve the value and then I can determine what destination blockchain did that user selected, okay? The same goes for Binance Smart Chain. I'm going to have Binance Smart Chain, the second option, and then third one is going to be Polygon. You can go ahead and copy this, add another one and add Avalanche, add whatever you want, and that will be a 4th blockchain. You see where I'm going? And then obviously you have to populate up, you have to add the contracts, you have to add everything, but you already have it. You just need to mimic exactly what is here for those main blockchains, right? So I'm just gonna remove it. Now, by doing that, I should be able to refresh and see if now we get step 3. Okay, now it's telling me selected, it's not defined. So selected is another use state. No problem, okay? Let's do it right now. The set selected, basically it's for me to store the destination blockchain that the user has selected. So then I can use this to determine on the initialized transfer, I can set the destination custody smart contract, the destination NFT Bridge smart contract, and so forth. So this is how I'm going to map the contract addresses based on the user selection. So the user selected Binance Smart Chain, that will be my destination. That will be the deciding factor for me to update the wallet addresses, to update the smart contract addresses. Okay, let's go. Control S. Let's see if I'm lucky now. There we go. All right, awesome. So now we got the transfer from, we got select the NFT to transfer, and we finally got the third option. So let me go ahead and select Ethereum. I want to retrieve my assets, and let's see now if I render. I render. Now if I select destination, obviously I haven't finished adding the initialized bridge transfer function. Once I add this, it will render, okay? So no worries, we'll make it happen. Okay, so we got that, looking good. Okay, let's finish this once and for all. So with that said, let's configure the final piece in the NFT Bridge Web frontend. So let's add the last step, which is step 4, to verify the transfer and transfer. So that will be the last tab that we have to configure, and we're done with the web front end. Let's do it real quick. So this is what we're going to be working with. We are going to add this particular section in which the user will confirm that the NFT will be moved from the source blockchain to the destination blockchain. The user is going to be able to confirm from which blockchain to which blockchain it's going to move the NFT that was selected on step 2. So we have to add this particular piece. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so we are all the way to step 3 or section 3, which is the transfer. So now I'm going to add section 4, and we close section 3 in the card, and then we're going to open the last section. And let me go ahead and paste. Okay, so let me explain to you what section 4 is. So section 4, remember, this is this one right here. So this is the review, transfer, details, and confirm. So review, transfer, details, and confirm. So we are basically providing the end user from which blockchain he or she wants to move that NFT, okay, and to which destination blockchain. And we also provide the option to that end user to use the custom ERC20 token. So we have to make sure that we have the custom ERC20 token smart contract address as part of the initialized transfer function. So once the user clicks transfer, it's going to also check if the user is going to use that as a payment, and we will send the request to pay in that particular token, okay? So with that, I am going to check the following, right? So I just deployed, let me close this right here. I just deployed a checkbox, and this is what you see here, right? So this is the checkbox. And I just typed pay with N2DR. So if we go under the Visual Studio Code, so now on step 4 is the actual bridge function. We added section 4 HTML. I'm going to break it down real quick. So we got review transfer details and confirm. We got the source image. This is how we set the source blockchain image. So let me show you. Let me do it on the one that is already done. So when I select the source here, I am capturing also the value. So then I can determine in for which is going to be my source blockchain. I am actually capturing this value using useState with this particular function to retrieve what was the source blockchain selected, so then I can show the source logo right here. So I'm going to select Ethereum. I'm going to retrieve the assets. It's asking me to log in. Okay, so I just logged in. Now I'm going to do it again. And now I should see my NFTs, which I do. Now we're going to select, and you can see already I have Ethereum as the bridge source. How am I able to show this, right? How am I able to determine that the user selected this and that's how I can show this as the source? Let me show you. Let's go here. And you can see I have mapped the image to be a constant that I created on top in the useState section, okay? So I have a source image. So let's find this value right here. So I'm gonna go all the way up, right? And I am going to show you source image. Okay, so source image, what am I going to do? Remember, use memory? That's how I'm able to store in memory what the user previously selected in step 1. And I'm gonna use that as to determine what blockchain logo am I going to display in the source section, right? On section 4, we want to review all that. So by reviewing the transaction, and so we can provide the end user, hey, this is where you're sending from and this is where you're sending to. We want to capture all those details so then we can build a function on section 4, which is the transfer, which is very important. Okay, so the source image is a constant. It's going to find out of use memo if source RPC equals Goerli RPC. How am I able to determine that? Remember when we first selected the source blockchain, I will have a useState get source RPC, okay? And that get source RPC is going to store the RPC address of the Goerli testnet, okay? Now, because I got that value at the beginning, now I can determine if I compare that to Goerli RPC, then that means that you selected Ethereum, which means I am going to show you the Ethereum logo. Okay, that's how I'm able to determine the source and destination, and I can actually show those logos dynamically. Cool, huh? All right, so if that's the case, check this out. I am going to show you Ethereum logo, okay? Else, if you are going to choose any other RPC, then I will be showing the Polygon or I will be showing Binance Smart Chain. So if my source RPC matches Mumbai RPC, then in this case, show me the Polygon logo because I am going from that blockchain. Or else if the source RPC matches Binance Smart Chain testnet, then show me the Binance Smart Chain logo. And that's how I'm doing it, okay? Cool, good so far? Awesome, okay? So that one, once we determine that, as a matter of fact, I'm going to do that real quick. Once we determine this, I'm going to go Ethereum, retrieve the assets. Sure enough, but I don't have this section completed, okay? So I am selecting Ethereum right here. So let me go ahead and select Polygon for sake of the demonstration. Retrieve assets, should not have anything. Okay, yeah, because I don't have a contract, so that's why it's not working. So yeah, the moment I select the source blockchain, it's going to show that particular source blockchain. I don't see the arrows because I'm probably missing that HTML, so let me fix that. I'm gonna fix that real quick. You're gonna see why. So I'm gonna select Ethereum. I'm gonna show you why. We're gonna fix something on the fly. So I selected Ethereum, retrieve assets, and you can see this this arrow animation. It's only in the Ethereum condition. It's not on the Binance Smart Chain condition. So let's fix that. Here we are. Let's go ahead and fix that right now. So the intention is for Binance Smart Chain to also show those arrows. They're not being shown because it's only applied to the Ethereum HTML code. Okay, so if I go to Binance, I'm going to show you real quick. Retrieve. So now it changed to Binance, but I don't see the arrows. So let's fix that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back, and you can see the only one that has this information, it's the Ethereum condition, else the other one does not. So let's fix that real quick. I am just going to return all this, right? So I'm going to select all this. The only thing that is going to stay is going to be the logo. So in this case, I'm just going to do this. Okay, so I selected this, right? And we're going to just copy this whole thing and all the way here, and we should close, copy, and let's see if it looks good. Yep. So what I'm going to do again, I'm going to just take this whole thing out of here. I'm going to paste, kind of put the line for the image in the middle, and I just got to copy all this in the bottom. Life is a copy and paste. No, it's kidding. Life is a copy and paste. There you go. Awesome. So we fixed all the syntax. So let me make sure that I don't have any errors. No errors. So if I select Ethereum, right, I'm going to just switch myself, retrieve the assets. And sure, I will see this displayed. Okay. So now let's go ahead and add the function. So now I can show and display the logo for that source blockchain along with the arrow. You saw the arrow, the animation, that was kind of cool. So once the user selects this, I will be capturing the value in use state and will determine then the source blockchain logo right here. And that's how I'm going to be able to show the end user, hey, you're sending it from this blockchain to this blockchain. That's how I'm doing it. You have it right there. Okay. This is the existing application, so we have to build this whole thing here. And sure enough, it's showing an error because I haven't added the function. So let me continue explaining to you the HTML code, and we'll add the function, and that should be it. Okay. So let me go back and let me show you the end of the code. So we talked about, custom pay, right? So if it's selected, that means that you are going to use the ERC20 token to pay for that bridge transaction, and that token will be the custom ERC20 token. Okay, we're gonna use the token, and basically that's the function that I'm gonna be calling in the initialize transfer function. Okay, once we determine this, then this is where the magic happens. Initialize transfer is the full-blown bridge function. So once we hit initialize transfer, it's going to go all the steps, and it's just going to talk to all the RPCs. You saw that. We went through that on the last video. Now it's just a matter of connecting the dots with the front end. Okay, let's go. And then transfer, that's the button. So if we go back, let me show you on the existing app. This is the actual button for that HTML code. So let's go back here. So you can see it right here. So button, and then initialize transfer, button, close, down, and this is all the parameters. So I have some styling, CSS styling going on here. This is all set in a grid using Next UI. Again, this is the graphical wrapper that I'm using for this front end. Now, here's the cool thing. When someone hits the transfer button, I am going to open a model. You remember that pop-up and shows that wormhole, spinning around? That is the model. How am I going to open that? I'm wrapping this output inside a model. So this is how I'm opening the model in Next UI. This function actually is very cool. Allows me to prevent from someone clicking outside of the model and closing the model. So this will not let anyone close the model by just clicking outside of it. They have to click on purpose close. Okay, so that's awesome. And then once you click that, it's visible, so it displays, and then close handler. When you close handler, I have up a constant that is going to call this. And what is going to display on the handler? I'm going to show you right now. So let's go up, and I'm going to display that. So let me add the model information real quick to show you right now. So I'm going to add those two functions. We are going to obtain from set visible, by the way, another use state. So we are using another use state, and that use state, it's actually called set visible. And I'm going to confirm link. So I'm going to show you those two. I'm going to tell you what they are for. This is in the transfer function. It's for me to get the BSC or the Etherscan link for the testnet or the mainnet that you're using. You're going to be able to provide the end user the clickable link to see the transaction receipt, the receipt transaction, so they can see more details in Etherscan or BSC scan or whatever the network that the user selected to send the NFTs. They are going to be able to see the full transaction by just providing the link right in the model. Okay, cool. Handler. So on the handler, I need to expect them to provide me the information that it's opened, so then we can go ahead and provide the full transfer activity. Okay, so that's where I'm going to show that wormhole just spinning around and all the transfer function activity. Okay, and we got ERC20 contract. Okay, so the only thing, and by the way, when we select destination image, we're going to do exactly the same thing as we did with the source. So let me show you up here. Source image, same thing. I am using another use memory. I am going to display the logo for the destination blockchain that the user selected on step number 3. So on step 3, the user selected that logo. I am going to also use memory as a hook to determine what the user selected, so then we can display also the destination blockchain logo in section 4. That's how we do it. Okay, and one more thing and we're done. We have to add that long initialize transfer function. Okay, and let me copy it. Hold on. It is long. This is where all the magic in the NFT bridge happens. And again, we covered this on the last video. There you go. Now, what I'm going to do, I want to make sure that I am calling all my use state and set states. And sure enough, all of them are completely online. Now, if I save, I should see the full application. Let's go ahead. So let me show you one last thing before we close. So the moment I open, consider this to be visible. This is NextUI. This is how they displayed the model. So once the user hits the transfer button, what I'm expecting is the model to be open. That pop-up box, and then show the spinning wormhole. And that spinning wormhole is right here. This is the file, okay? And if someone hits the close button, there's a button on the left, lower left corner, close. It basically triggers close handler, which is another constant that I have to create up here, that it changes the Boolean attribute from visible to true. You know, if you open the handler, it's visible true. If you close it, it's false. Okay, that's it. You want to save it? Let's go now. And custom pay is not it's not defined. Let's see why. Okay, so we are missing one use state, which is to store the value of the ERC20 token that the user selected, and this will be the famous custom pay. And this is what I'm expecting. Use token, custom pay. Okay. If custom pay is true, so if someone selected, hit the checkbox of the custom ERC20 token during the bridge transfer function, I am going to determine if this Boolean is true. That means that the user wants to use the custom ERC20 token. Else, just use the native token. Okay, awesome. So let me go ahead and Control S. Let's go back. And ladies and gentlemen, we have the application finalized. Okay, so if we select Ethereum, retrieve, we got the NFTs. Okay, destination, we select Binance Smart Chain. ID is not defined. Ugh. Okay, one more use state that I need. I am someone that might get frustrated when I face an error, like something that I'm not able to figure out. But actually, I am grateful because I have another opportunity to learn more. That's how you become very proficient, by getting into those roadblocks and make it happen, like figure it out. Okay, so right now we got, this, and now we should be good. So let me go ahead and refresh. Okay, so let's see. So we're going to select Ethereum. We're going to retrieve the assets. We got the NFTs. Transfer to. Oh my God, that's awesome. Okay, so we select token 2. Cool. If I select pay with N to the R, guess what? I am going to use the custom ERC20 token. If I hit the transfer button, all magic will happen. We're going to stop here because on the final video, we're going to deploy all the smart contracts. Absolutely every single smart contract. We're just going to use it. So you're going to see how to deploy this in a heartbeat. And I'm going to answer the questions regarding the NFT contract that I'm going to use, the source contract, and all that. So the last video is going to be very quick. It's literally to use it. It's literally a how-to guide on how to test this yourself so you can learn how will an NFT bridge works, okay? So I'm going to wrap it up. Stay tuned for the final video in this amazing application. We are only left with one video, and this video is the end of the NFT bridge. I want to make sure that we deploy this and add all the steps. Deploy the app, deploy the smart contracts, and test it out so you know step by step what you need to do to allow the NFT bridge to work, okay? So you can understand every single step that we had to take in this application. That is very important. So in the last video, we are closing. That will be our final video in the NFT bridge. In that video, we will just deploy the whole thing from scratch. We will deploy the smart contracts. We will attach the smart contract to the front end that we just built as a refresher, and we'll go ahead and test everything out. Alrighty? So that's it for this video. Hey, if you like what we're doing, and by the way, thank you. Thank you so much for your comments. So I really thank you for your support. That definitely allows me to push myself and continue doing this for you guys. Alrighty? So that's it for this video. I hope you like what we're doing and what we have accomplished so far. If you like everything that we're doing, please give it a thumbs up. Hey, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye.